Do you want to know what the state of Ohio is doing with your tax dollars? For the first time, Ohio has an online database that allows you to track spending. It's called Ohio Checkbook online. And Treasurer Josh Mandel tells me he believes taxpayers will love it. Tax spenders, not so much.
The reason I'm doing this is I think the people of Ohio have a right to know how their tax money is being spent. And what I'd like to do is empower the people to hold the politicians accountable.
Accountable for every penny spent. You can now track your tax dollars by person, even by item.
For fiscal year 2014, the state bought $292,000 worth of bulldozers.
That's a lot of bulldozers.
It's a lot of money on bulldozers.
The online checkbook is an $814,000 computer system that's been under development for the past 18 months. Mandel says 37 states have some kind of online tracking system for state expenditures. But he says none of the other states compares to Ohio.
When you look at the user-friendliness, you look at the amount of information here, you look at the ways that citizens can compare information among agencies, ours really sets an example.
But when you look at the man hours that you put in, and it's more than $800,000 for the system, is that worth it to the taxpayers?
I think it is. I think this website will pay for itself pretty quickly because by virtue of having all this information online, it's going to make politicians and other public officials think twice before they waste taxpayer money or even worse, defraud the citizens. One of my pet peeves is when politicians spend a bunch of money to go on these expensive junkets to Hawaii and Disney World and places like that. So let's say you want to look at the travel, $700,000 on travel. And let's say you want to see what they spend on
a lot out-of-state
conferences. So $69,000 on out-of-state conferences.
That's the travel budget for the Department of Commerce. If you have questions about it or any other expenditure, there is also a phone number and an email address for a contact person at each agency that spends money. I can't imagine that everyone was excited about this. There have to be people in these agencies or lawmakers who didn't want you to do this.
I know by putting this information online, it's going to tick off politicians throughout the state of Ohio, but I don't care. I don't work for these politicians. My boss is the 11.5 million people of the state of Ohio, and I know by putting this information online, I'm doing right by the people of Ohio.
And there's another feature to that system. If you find a check or other information on the site that taxpayers should see, you can share it to Twitter, Facebook, or in an email. And you can find a link to that new state checkbook at NBC4i.com.